episode 1 of What the Hell is Shadow Work, and this is just basically a short series where I put together key points of the benefits of shadow work and explain to you what it is. So episode 1, I want to talk about the fact that it's a process of awareness. Shadow work is literally all about being aware of the good parts of yourself, but also the bad parts of yourself. And when I say bad, I don't necessarily mean they're bad, because that is the whole point of this process, is learning not to label them and to accept them. But really it is about being aware of every part of yourself, every behavior, every belief system, every thought pattern, everything. And then seeing how and being aware of how that impacts your finances, your relationships, your success, your businesses, your health, your lifestyle, how happy you are, what you think about yourself. All of these things that we usually would turn a blind eye to, not realizing that the things we're turning a blind eye to are absolutely crucial in addressing, being aware of, and actually working through them in order for these things to change. So any challenges you're facing in your relationships, your finances, your success, what you think about yourself, and any of those things in your life that feel like they are, maybe there's a hurdle in any of those areas, that is what the awareness is for. Is really highlighting, okay, where can I realize something is in the way here? Is that due to me, which usually it is, and how can I change that? So it's becoming aware. It's a process of awareness of how can I actually have power over creating a reality that is better, rather than turning a blind eye to it, not having awareness of it, and just thinking that these things happen to me because I'm just a victim. That's essentially what it is. It's a process of awareness. Now, not everybody is ready for this kind of process of awareness, because it can be very confronting. It definitely will be very confronting, because essentially what you're doing is you're cutting away the excuses, or you're cutting away the kind of your own crap. So the things that you are used to believing or used to saying, for example, that, life's just hard sometimes, or, you can only ever make certain amounts of money, or, relationships are supposed to be full of arguments. Those kind of really societal, damaging norms, you start to realize and become aware that those are not normal. Those are not normal. Those are not they are a benchmark that society has created for you to stay plain small. That's what it is. But what happens is you start to become aware during the process of shadow work of how actually these things absolutely aren't what I want to settle for. I want more than this in these areas of my life. So how can I start changing them? And it all starts with awareness. Now, this is obviously something we go into a lot deeper during the process. I'm saying awareness now, but it becomes a lot more oh my God, I cannot unsee what I've seen right now. So it is a beautiful but also scary but exciting process. In this episode, I want to talk to you about the fact that shadow work is a journey of realizing that you are the creator of your life. You are not the victim to it. Things don't happen to you, they happen for you, and they also happen because they are directly mirroring what you are feeling, behaving like, and putting out. So shadow work is essentially that again. It is the process of realizing that you have complete and utter power over anything and everything that happens in your life. Now, again, some people are not ready to hear this, and you'll hear me probably say this in a lot of these episodes when I talk about what shadow work is, because if you are not ready to accept your flaws, if you're not ready to put your barriers down, drop the ego, and really deep dive into, okay, I'm going to allow myself to be vulnerable here and really see what I need to change and want to change. If you're not ready for that, shadow work is going to be tough. Even if you are ready, shadow work can be tough. But it becomes a lot easier when you accept that I've actually maybe been making some excuses. Maybe I've been putting blame on external circumstances when actually I could have done more to change that reality. Whether that's in a relationship, in your business, in success, in how you feel about yourself, your health. Again, whatever area of your life. And I really want to highlight this, actually. Shadow work is for any area of your life. Because what happens is, and this is what you understand through the process of shadow work, is that any area of your life is a direct mirror of what you are putting out. So shadow work, therefore, covers absolutely any area, because you are working on yourself, which is the root of all other aspects of your life. So if you want to improve any area of your life, you've got to improve that area within yourself first. So it's basically realizing that. It's realizing that you have the power to be the creator of any kind of reality you want to create. And actually, again, picking up from my last video about on episode 1, where I said that it's about a process of awareness, it's also helping you become aware of some of the things that you haven't wanted to experience or didn't necessarily enjoy or weren't going as according to plan. You also probably had a part to play in that. And again, this is not a process of blame. It's just a process of accountability, being aware and accountable for where did I actually create this and how can I change it if I want.
In this episode, we're going to talk about the fact that shadow work is a process of harsh truths. And I mean this in the most beautiful way. And again, like I say, or have been saying in every episode so far, not everybody is going to be ready for this. But if you are ready for this, you will know, because you will feel a calling, and you probably are already interested in understanding your behavior or some kind of healing journey, or just being interested more in people's behavior and needs. But a big part of shadow work is being able to accept the harsh truths, mistakes that you've made, things that you regret saying or doing, having to revisit things that were uncomfortable and really seeing those experiences for the truth that they are, and just being able basically to face the truth. It's a process of facing the truth, and that it will definitely require you to drop your ego. It will require you to be vulnerable. It will require you to really go deep into your parts of your mind, your memories, your emotions that have not been visited probably for a very long time. So it's a process of facing the truth. Now, facing the truth is probably, I would say personally, one of the most uncomfortable parts of a shadow work process, but it is also the most powerful, because when you are not facing the truth, it means you are ignoring crucial parts of your experience, crucial parts of your behavior, your personality, your characteristics that are impacting everything you do. And if you don't highlight those things, or if you don't pay attention to those things, process those things because they're uncomfortable, they're not just going to go away. They are going to persist until you find them. They're going to persist and keep showing up. They're going to, maybe it's like whack-a-mole, as I've heard it been referred to at one point. It's like you hide it in this area and then it pops up in this area. You hide it in that area and it pops up in another area. That is what you're probably listening to. This is what you're experiencing in areas of your life. Like, you find a challenge, you think you kill it, you get rid of it, and then it shows up again. They're showing up again because you're not facing the truth of them. When you get to the root of facing the truth, you can then process them, you can understand them, and you can create a new belief system, or a new, basically a new perspective of how to treat that situation differently so that it doesn't keep popping up. So that is another crucial part of the shadow work process. Now, today I want to really continue on from where I left off in the last episode, which was all about experiencing harsh truths, and move on to this next part, which is all about the fact that this is a process of absolutely beautiful growth. Because yes, there are some really difficult parts that come with shadow work. And when I say difficult, I mean confronting and really having to accept truth for what it is and stop trying to disguise it. But on the other side of the truth, on the other side of the digging deep, on the other side of like revisiting things that are uncomfortable, there is the biggest, most beautiful, like expansive feeling of growth, and growth in ways you've probably never experienced before. And I mean this in like every area of life, like whether you're looking to grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, like everything can change just from the process of understanding yourself on a deep core level, which is what shadow work is. This growth can look like whatever you want it to look like. And this is one of the things I find quite hard to explain what shadow work is, which is part of why I put this series together, because shadow work is literally for every area of your life. And I've said this in one of my other episodes. If you want to heal or understand a traumatic relationship, or if you want to understand how to have impact over your finances, or if you want to understand how to have impact over your lifestyle and like let go of societal norms that tell you can't do this and this in your lifestyle, like all these norms, all these things that you don't know how to get out of, which apply to every area of your life, shadow work can help you do that. And again, it's because you are mirroring outside of you what's already internal. So by understanding yourself on an internal deep level, you then get to change the mirror that is outside of you. So that's in every area of your life. So shadow work, it probably sounds really overinflated to say shadow work can help you with everything, but it can. And I actually went into shadow work for one very linear reason, and I came out of it with my whole life changed. And it doesn't necessarily look like my life has changed per se, because my routine is pretty much the same. My relationships are pretty much the same in terms of the people. My job has changed a little bit, but it was already going in this direction. So yeah, on the surface level, nothing really looks like it's changed, but internally and in terms of the experience of it, everything is different. So if we're looking at like trying to gain more confidence or trying to feel more aligned in your purpose or your work or in your relationships, getting rid of relationships that don't serve you anymore, or being able to show up differently in your relationship so that the relationship is exactly what you want and need it to be, rather than just plateauing and like accepting it for what it is. Yeah, if you want any of those things, it's all an internal process, and this is where the growth happens, is internally. But then with your internal growth, you see the beauty of it outside, because actually as you change, your external reality will also start to change for the better. So essentially it's a process of growth, but it's also a process of aligning to what it is you want to grow towards. Today we're talking about how shadow work is a process of adapting and creating new beliefs that are more serving to you. So one of the biggest parts of being able to adapt to a new belief or adapt to a change we're looking for in our lives in any area is, first of all, letting go of what does not serve us. So if we're trying to work in one direction, but our beliefs and our behaviors and everything else, our thoughts and patterns, are going in the opposite direction, then we first need to identify what is it that's pulling us in the opposite direction and why. Why is that happening? Once you can like move through that, process that, and understand where that's come from, you then start to be able to adapt to better belief systems, truth, and alignment to where you really want to be going. So this is a real short episode because it is literally as simple as that. It's understanding the parts of your memories, experiences, and your psychology that are rooted in a direction that you don't want to go anymore in any area of your life. Understanding that, processing that, and then moving on and creating new belief patterns can lead you into the direction you want to go that will be long lasting. And something I want to highlight on this is that everything or things that you probably see, especially on like social media and stuff, when this topic is being spoken about, is it's very much on a mind level, like use affirmations and like really like just tell yourself you can do, like it's more than that. It's more than just positive thinking. That's basically what I'm trying to say. It's not positive thinking. It's completely rewiring your nervous system, your thought patterns, and your beliefs to take you into a direction you want to go that is long lasting. It basically arms you with the tools you need to keep going in the direction. Even if that direction changes, you know how to keep aligning to that, because you're creating thoughts and patterns and beliefs that are serving the direction you want to go in. Because it's really hard to go in the direction you want to go in when your thoughts, patterns, and beliefs and all these other things that are happening up here without you realizing are pulling you in the opposite direction. So that's what it is. It's a process of adapting to new belief systems. This episode, we're going to talk about the impact of actually being able to literally see, I'm going to say it again, see results. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is because I myself, and I know a lot of people I speak to, have been through so many like even if it's just conversations or some kind of coaching or some kind of like mindset, positive thinking process. And it's like, yeah, those things will work for a short time, but then it's like the results go away and then things go back to normal, and then everything's like, well, what was the point of all of that? Positive thinking didn't really get me anywhere. And that is because that is true. Positive thinking does not get you anywhere. Like, yeah, it might make you feel better in the moment, it might even last for a period of time, but it's not a long lasting process. And shadow work is getting to the core of why things don't last. What are the things that are in the way internally? Like what are we holding on to that is stopping us from keeping things long term, the positive results long term? And then from that, you actually see physically the results, whether that looks like a physical change in your life or whether it actually just looks like, or feels like a feeling. It's a feeling or an experience within life. Even if your reality is looking the same, everything feels different. And that is what I mean by seeing results. Like, I can almost tangibly explain the type of results I've seen, the type of results my clients have seen, the type of results that I literally I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, is this real life? Life starts to feel magic. And this is not to sell shadow work to you. This is to help you realize how much power you have over creating magic in your life. I wholeheartedly believe in the fact that this is something we all need to tap into. And I say that because it's so sad to see a society of people who are so reliant on some kind of governing or external force to tell them how to live their life, how much money they need to earn, how much they need to work, how much what kind of relationships they can have. Everything is so dictated, but that's because we're a society of people who have forgotten our own power. And because we've forgotten our own power, we can't recreate the results we really want, so we settle for the results we're creating. But when you learn that you can create that kind of result from a very different place, which is internal power that has been completely conditioned out of us, you then start to see long-term results. Basically, shadow work is a process of cutting your own bullshit. That's basically what it is. It's helping you see where you've been making excuses, where you've been standing in your own way, where you've maybe been putting your power outside of you again, where you've been trying to blame other things for why it is that you're experiencing the results you're experiencing in any area of life: love, relationships, health, lifestyle, career, business, success, finances, all those things. Now, when you start to cut your own shit, when you start to be like vulnerable enough, accountable enough, and like own your shit, you start to see, oh my God, I was really just standing in my own way. Oh my God, I was really just blaming this person when I could have just set myself free and made a completely different decision. But the reason I was blaming that person was because I was stuck over here and really I wanted to go over here. So then we create this thing where we're like working in completely different directions and then we stay stuck right in the middle. Anywhere that you're feeling stuck, you're probably standing in your own way. You've probably got a very clear route to get out of that place you're stuck in, but you're choosing not to. And there's a reason you're choosing not to. Again, this is not to blame yourself. This is just to become accountable and realize, where am I standing in my own way and where can I like literally cut my own bullshit? When you start to cut your own bullshit, your life changes. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the fact that shadow work is a opportunity for you to set an example. Now, whether this is setting an example just for friends around you, your partner, your kids, or just for all generations that come after you, whoever it is you're setting an example for, it is a super like profound and powerful part of being the person that takes yourself through shadow work. When you decide to go through something like shadow work and really face your history, you face your memories, you face your behaviors, you face your challenges, when you face all of those things that all live internally, which are uncomfortable, but when you do that and you are making the decision to break that cycle and create that change, you are setting an example not only for the people around you, but for people like generations that live after you. This work is part of a shift that is happening globally. This isn't something that is like, you know, you do it for you and then that's where it stops. It doesn't end with you. This is something that you get to set an example for people that live on after you, for the rest of society, for whoever it is that is around you in your circle and whoever you share your story with. When you go through this kind of process and you start to share your story, you give permission for other people to start facing their own memories, experiences and behaviors. You start giving permission for other people to take accountability for being able to also break cycles. When you start to break cycles, you set an example for how powerful that can be for anybody who's watching you. And if you have kids specifically, this is such a powerful, such powerful work to be doing, because you're not only setting an example for yourself and your kids, you're then allowing them to grow with such emotional awareness of how much power they really have. And then we start to filter out people who no longer believe in their power. And that is the beautiful process and impact of this work, is the fact that you get to set an example. In this episode, I want to talk briefly about it is important to see that so much of the things that we are experiencing, or the blocks that we're experiencing, the challenges we're experiencing that we come into shadow work for, isn't just starting with you. It is something that has lived on more than likely generationally way before you. So for me personally, I can see it go back at least 4 generations, where particularly things that I've experienced as a woman has been experienced with women before me for at least 4 generations. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to intentionally track back and find the generation, but what it means is it's important for you to understand that in shadow work coaching, you get to see this isn't something that actually just I am experiencing. The importance of realizing this and seeing this is actually giving yourself recognition that if you do this work, you then break that cycle. Like I said in my last episode, you get to set an example for generations that live on after you. But the power of that is coming from the history of generations that lived before you, with these challenges, with these blocks. Although it may have showed up differently in their life, they still experienced them. They probably didn't have the understanding or the time or even the resources to look at some of these things. Or maybe they did and they didn't know how to, or they were too scared to. The difference is when you hear about something like this and you feel some relatability to understanding how much power you have to change that and to break that cycle, the likelihood is that is your calling. And that's exactly what happened with me. I started to see things in my life, and I'd been on this self-growth journey for like 6 or 7 years before I really deep dived into shadow work. And I started to see things in my life. I'm like, my mum's going through that. My mum's mum was also going through that. Why am I also experiencing something? What, because they couldn't figure it out? Now I have to? Yes, there is a process of why is it all on my shoulders that you have to go through, and you most likely will go through. It's not the same for everyone. It will look different for every single person. Everyone's life is different. But when you start to see how generationally these challenges have lived on and on and on, and then it's now landed with you, you get to see the power of how much change you can really create. It's not just change in your life. You're healing like generational trauma. You're healing the trauma that may have, but won't anymore, live on in generations after you. Generational impact is so powerful in the process of shadow work. I wanted to end with this one because I wholeheartedly believe that this is the most important, not even important, but the most powerful part of shadow work. And that is that it is the deepest level of self-growth, self-work, self-development that you can ever do. And I say this because before I went into the deep levels of shadow work, I had been on a journey of self-growth and self-development for about 6 or 7 years. And a lot of that was causing positive results. It was causing change that I wanted in my life, and things started to feel really good. I had also gone through a process during that time of a certain amount of therapy. And again, it caused some changes, but it was not as anywhere near the depth of what shadow work has done for me. And that's what I kind of wanted to end on here, is like helping you understand that shadow work is the deepest level of self-work you can do. And for example, and this is what I say to all my coaching clients, is that things like therapy will stop you from sinking and drowning, but coaching is what teaches you how to swim. So things like on a mindset level, or like positive thinking, positive affirmations, therapy, like they might help you unload, they might help you digest, they might help you like work through some shit. But what it won't do is give you the tools and the rewiring and the more balanced nervous system to really move forward and actually create a new life, helping you to not recreate those problems that you went into therapy and positive thinking for in the first place. And that is what shadow work does, is it arms you with the tools, it adapts, it rewires, it allows your nervous system to calm the hell down. And then you create a new life from that. And when I say new life, it doesn't mean to say that you have to come into this with a life that you absolutely hate. No, I never started any of this work because I hated my life. I started this work because I felt like there was more for me. I knew I wanted to coach anyway, so I wanted to experience it myself. But also, I was very aware of certain things that weren't serving me, and I didn't know how to change them long term. Like, yes, the mindset stuff, the positive thinking, the therapy gave me short-term results, but it did not give me long-term change. And that's what I'm feeling right now from the result of shadow work. So I just want us to end this series on the fact that shadow work is the deepest level of self-work you can ever do. This is a lot of what our sessions are based on. It's revisiting things that may have been uncomfortable, and there are different levels of trauma, so like everything is welcome, but it is really a process of going as deep as you can to release the depth as much as you can, because from that you get that freedom, you get the peace, you get the relationships, the love, the finances, the attraction of things that are aligned to you. That is what we go into these things for. And any experience or challenge you are facing in your life, external to you, in business, in relationships, in whatever, it all starts from understanding yourself.